Hi guys. I know I have not made a video in a very long time, and if you want to be completely honest, it's because I have not had any idea what to make a video about. But it helps you now because, as it turns out, I have an interesting topic for this video. Um, since Christmas is approaching very soon, and a lot of people have trouble figuring out what they're going to get, their mom, their dad, their siblings, their boyfriend, girlfriend, a good friend, something. I know it's very typical to go by what they're interested in. For example, like if you know that your brother or sister likes baseball, you think, well, maybe I should get them a baseball bat or something that relates to that, like baseball cards or like a baseball video game, something like that, right? And you can do that. That's very useful. You can do that. That works. But what I've come to find is, and a lot of people do this too, I've heard, if you like take whoever you plan on, like this is really easy, especially with little kids too. Like if you are not sure what to get your brother and sisters, your younger siblings, just take them to the mall for the day and watch them just ooh and ah over stuff. And if there's something that like they light up specifically about, just be like, oh, like you should write that on your list to Santa. Just or say something that implies that you're not getting them it. Don't be too obvious and be like, oh, I'll remember that or something dumb because that's just gonna just give it away and that kid's gonna know you're getting it. I like, I personally don't like doing Christmas lists, like, getting like a list of what everyone wants because I feel like that's too expected. That's too predictable. Because if I ask, my friend, say, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I write it down, that friend's gonna know that that's what I'm gonna buy them, right? That's very typical. I don't like doing Christmas lists because I like it being I like it being the surprise aspect of Christmas. Like I like when they open stuff and they're like, "Oh my god, I did not expect that, but I so wanted it at the same time. How'd you know?" It's like one of those things. You have to like watch them and pay very close attention to like what they talk about. Even if they mention it real quick, that's when it's perfect. Is if they just mention something kind of like random, and you don't really give much thought into it. You don't really kind of like don't pay attention, like, you know like, I'm just gonna use this as an example. My mom one year, she is one of those people that is like extremely, like, she hints a lot about stuff, like she's gonna push, if she wants it she's gonna let you know, and she'll let you know many times, and half the time she's joking about it. But like that kind of stuff I'm not gonna get her because, like I just told you, I don't buy the obvious things. So one day we were like, I don't know, we were in a store or something, and she was like, "Oh my god, like I would seriously, like, you have no idea how much I'd love one of these." And I totally acted like I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, "Okay, mom, like whatever." And then I changed the subject and said something else. Like I wasn't being rude about it. Like I just, changed the subject in my mind, thinking that's what I'm getting for Christmas. She really wanted a pepper grinder. That's what it was. We were at like Bed Bath and Beyond or something like that, and she saw a pepper grinder. She's like, "I would love to have a pepper grinder." So I got her pepper grinder, and she still has it and uses it to this day for all her pepper grinding needs. So, you know, it's just stuff like that. Just totally just not obvious, just, you know, I mean, I pretty much like lick my chops to the opportunity to where I know I can get them something and they're not gonna have any idea that I got them that. Then they're not even like expecting it. They open it and they're like, "Oh my god, how did you know I want this?" It's and plus two, it's a much more appreciated Christmas gift when it's like that, when it comes from true thought and true paying attention. Because then they're gonna look at that, and when you tell them the story of how you found out, or when you found out, change that. When you realize that that's what they wanted, like when you tell them that, like when you explain how you knew that they wanted that, you'd be like, "Oh, remember that one time when we were like, passing like, I don't know, something, and you saw in the window like, oh my god, I'd love one of those." But not even really give a second thought. It's a fun story for like once they've opened their present, because then you're like, "Oh my god," like that shock factor. Because I've had stuff like that happen to me too, and I love that. I think that's really nice. Like that's like something appreciative. Something you really didn't say you, or not even some, or even something like you say you didn't want, like, or you didn't say you wanted. I mean, and you just, were looking at it like, because I've had that happen to me too. People like have bought me Christmas gifts, and I was just like, I didn't tell you I wanted that. They were like, yeah, but you were like staring at it. So it's like, you're like, oh, like that's really cool. You noticed that. You noticed that I wanted it just by looking at it. And no, before anyone jumps to conclusions, I'm not one of those girls that's like looking at stuff and like, oh my god, like hint hint wink wink, I totally want this. I don't do that. I don't beg for things. I don't want anything. I'm not a material person, you know. I'm just fine with the clothes on my back and what I got, you know. So when someone does get me something that's like that I can appreciate, I'm like really like thankful for that. Um, you know, and good old money is always good too, you know, especially when you're a college student. Yay! But yeah, so I mean, just thoughtful presents like that are always nice every year. You know, when you just really put true thought into it and pay attention to what that person wants. The first thing to do is be attentive. Really pay attention to what that person really wants. Not going to the not looking the big picture. You know, think of like the things within it. Within that big picture. Like what is something about that they would love to, you know? So, something to think about. Um, if I provide enough examples, that's great and fantastic. But yeah, just pay attention. Do what you gotta do. Don't do a Christmas list because it throws people off when you don't do that because then they're like, well, how are they gonna know what I want if I don't give them a list of what I want? It's very interesting how it works because then that person's so like, it's kind of mysterious. It gives a mystery factor because they're like, what are they gonna get me? They don't know what I want. They didn't ask for a list. So it's a lot of fun and entertainment because that person's like dying to know, you know, what you're getting them and stuff. So it's fun. But yeah, if you have any other Christmas gift suggestions or if there's something wrong with the not Christmas list thing, because I understand some people like to do that, especially for like their kids. I understand like parents, you know, because they're like, you know, the whole Santa factor and all that. So alrighty, well, that is all I had to say about that, about Christmas and such. But I hope everyone has a good one, and then I hope that the shopping experience is all worth the while because I still have yet to Christmas shop for anybody right now, and it is December 3rd. That's just fan freaking tastic. Alright, well, have a good night. Goodbye, everybody.